Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Discourse Radio. There is a serious lacking of understanding going on with this Russia investigation and the issues with the mainstream media and how they are practically taking upon themselves to publicly put Donald Trump on trial for evidence that is no greater than circumstantial. And I'm no lawyer, and I may not have the terminology is correct, but it seems to me that they have not been able to fill the gaps and answer the many questions that people have about this. Now, CNN, their segments, I was watching them for a little bit earlier, and they seem to be running a lot of stories on the approval ratings and other things of that nature. They've brought on panelists who talk about how bad his Twitter feed is, and that he's the lowest rated president in the history of the U.S. approval rating wise, and all these polls being put forward that really are a response. I mean, the poll was from Washington Post, first of all, which I don't want to, say that it's automatically means that it's corrupted and that we shouldn't trust the numbers and blah blah blah. Maybe we can't. I certainly also don't want to say that that's not a possibility. But as well as that too, it could make sense that these polls are showing us what exactly. How people are reacting to what they're being told, basically, by these mainstream media outlets. Most of the pop culture, most of the media where you get your news in the country, once renowned organizations such as the Washington Post and New York Times are being left in disgrace now by many people who know that they are bullshitting us and are lying to us constantly. And these, since they have this much control over the discourse and how they've practically used shame tactics, guilt tactics, cult tactics to get people trapped into their ideology. And when I say they, I mean there's a lot of different groups now out there, but I suppose you could say the people that control the establishment class that controls. Like I said, the pop culture, big money people, not saying that this is all round tables conspiracy and things like that. I just think that there is a game to be played here, with politics and with money. And this is a time where much of that's coming to a head. Where, now, getting back to the polls, here, with coming from the Washington Post, if it's not a corrupted whatever numbers they're using, and I mean I would also argue that we should have other polls be taken other than by with the Washington Post to get a more accurate depiction before we paint all of the newspapers and our TV screens that Donald Trump is the lowest rated president in U.S. history. And if it isn't a corrupted thing, those numbers could, like I said, could just really tell. It's a reaction to the propaganda that's being given to them by their news organizations and by the pop culture idols and people that are seen as stars, and like your Colin Kaepernicks and people like that who make stands and people rally behind them in sentimental fashions, and basically throw rationality out the window and not ask the questions that have to be asked in order for us to find out the truth. The truth should be the number one thing. We don't want to lose our integrity. And I think, and I'm not saying that the average person who votes, say Democrat or believes in, or was not believes in, I'm sorry, followed Hillary Clinton, and still is to this day. They could be they could be brainwashed, and they could be following along with the propaganda. They may not necessarily have let their integrity go, but they come and rally behind her regardless because of these sentimental things that are being passed down from the mainstream media. It's like, say Hillary's a woman, and it would be an amazing thing to have they kind of glorify it and romanticize it, in a way. They kind of paint a picture for you as Hillary Clinton, the first female president of the United States of America, things like that. They'll put that above, on the, you'll have Don Lemon saying that on CNN or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that they would say it 24/7, of course, things like that. What they'll also try to do is dig into things that they can. I've been finding recently that they've been really focusing on story after story is hitting the cycle. Now we're talking about Trump Jr. and his meeting with the Russians, which we do not have the full picture on in the least sense yet. Not to say that it isn't suspicious or anything like that. I mean, maybe there was something going on. And I know Jared Kushner is very, very shady as well. I'm not a big fan of him myself. But like I tell some of my people I know that are on the Democratic side that say Kushner is that what Kushner does leads to Trump colluding with the Russians, and I'm telling him it's a pretty crazy leap to take, especially without you being able to prove it. And to use his conduct on Twitter as an excuse for look what he does and on Twitter and stuff like that. That doesn't prove. Like, we're not supposed to be we shouldn't be impeaching a president based on our sentimental feelings for him. Not to say that, of course we all feel emotion. We're all emotionally biased in some sort of way. But we sorry, I lose my train of thought sometimes here. I'm trying to improve on that, but we oh my God, that's bad. Well, let me continue talking about the polls, and we'll go back to that. The polls basically could just be a reaction to what people are seeing and what people are being fed to them, and basically. It's really just a reactionary thing, in a way, and I don't know if if this will lead, in fact, to impeachment. I really don't think so, honestly, because you can't get this stuff through a court of law unless the courts themselves are corrupt, and that would really be bad for all of us if that were the case. But I remain highly doubtful of that, and. Yeah, I refuse, like, even being a little bit, because I wouldn't call myself, well, maybe I will call myself pro-Trump. I don't know. I don't really know. But, I'm kind of waiting to see what's going on here. I'm certainly, in favor of him being president, considering the fact that he's democratically elected, and I don't feel as though, we should just throw aside all the issues and concerns of the people that voted for them, especially when many of those concerns are legitimate. And that includes the fact that that Congress's approval rating is abysmal, under 10%. I believe it's 6%. Correct me if I'm wrong. My information might be a little old there, but I'm just kind of going off the top of my head there. But it's abysmal, and that's never talked about. They never talk about that on TV. They'll talk about Donald Trump having low approval ratings, but they won't talk about the fact that Congress has a ridiculously low approval rating, and somehow many of the same people still end up in the same seats, even though many people may, when they look at the actual facts in front of them, may not actually agree that they should be there, and maybe we'll vote them out for someone new and someone with better ideas. You can't deny the fact that people who are attracted to Donald Trump bring a new sort of nuance to the presidency. And I don't think everything he's done is agreeable, and I'm not going to go over all that in this video because this will end up 45 minutes again. But the fact of the matter is that there is nothing that can be provable with the Russian case. I haven't seen one person be able to demonstrate it. Not without going. Many of them just go off and starts to talk about how his conduct on Twitter is less than admirable or presidential. Which, it doesn't. You can't take the leap. Like, I don't think people understand how serious these implications are. That we are accusing especially when they say they throw around the Russians did this, the Russians did that. You need to specify, and I'm going to say who I'm talking to is Rachel Maddow, and you need to specify who you mean by the Russians. Is it the Russian government? Is it certain people that surround Putin? Is it just Putin himself? Is it who is it? Because you are going to return the nation back to this Cold War mentality that may not end as cool as it did, because cool heads are certainly not would not prevail in that manner if we were to if this investigation were to accelerate especially if it didn't happen. If it didn't happen and they made it happen, they manufactured it, the problem to destroy this White House, and that is a huge problem with us and could end up with some of our people in a serious amount of danger. And frankly, I'll say very frankly that it could end with some of our troops getting killed and some Russian troops getting killed. And, we got those that weapon called the nuclear bomb that could end up also, ruining all of us. We need to, I think, they certainly, the people on CNN and MSNBC and you name it, I sound like a broken record naming these people over and over, but the mainstream media, are certainly not taking this seriously enough and certainly don't seem to care about the implications and about where this could lead our relations with the nation of Russia. And I think that is woefully arrogant and woefully I don't think ignorant is the right word, because I don't, like, some people are on the side of, it seems to me that a lot of the commentators are just naive and don't and actually believe in a lot of what they say and do things along this line. Some people are kind of in the middle, like I said, maybe it's like 50-50. Some of the people do, some of the people don't think that. And some people think that they are completely cynical about their own jobs, and that they do know what they're doing, and they know that they're lying, and they know that they're doing it for ratings and because of political influence, and because it comes from higher up, maybe. And those people, and so they'll shill, and they'll continue to shill until it isn't politically expedient for them. And I think I'll end it here for this segment. I appreciate anyone who's listening, anyone who's subscribed so far. I know I've been inactive recently, but I'll try to. I kind of just did this off a whim, and I kind of felt like doing a commentary, and I hope to get back into this very soon and make more videos. And thinking about restructuring everything. And no, when I say restructuring, I mean like I might bring back the world news headlines like I was planning on doing in the beginning. I'll do one of those every day during the week, and also maybe doing like shorter commentaries where they last no more than 15 minutes, maybe where I'll talk about a certain subject that I want to choose, and also maybe doing some discussions with people I know, like my friends or anyone that wants to come on. Yeah, we can debate, we can discuss. I don't care, and I'm not going to censor anybody or do anything like that. Also might do some more in-depth videos where where I'm actually on the computer, with the screen, where you guys can see, my analysis of things, rather than me just going on a rant here. But yeah, other than that, I appreciate you listening, and thanks for tuning in to Free Discourse Radio.